What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to ICNV Driversedition, and today we're jumping into another hot topic because the C8 Grand Sport has been revealed. There are videos all across the internet with so much information being released that we have to dive into it. But of course, we're going to do this the ICNV Driversedition way. So you've seen all the news, you've seen all the information revealed, but now it's time to ask yourself, is the C8 Grand Sport the best Corvette for your money? Let's talk about it. Now that the C8 Grand Sport has been revealed, all the information is circulating through the internet. Let's dive into what we already know so we can get into the real information, or should I say the real topic that everybody wants to discuss. The Grand Sport has come out in the heritage color of Admiral Blue. Now, don't get it twisted. The hash marks have been removed from the front of the vehicle to the back of the vehicle, just so they can go alongside with the engine placement is inside the car. And you heard me correctly, where the engine placement is inside the car. To me, I still would have preferred them across the front of the car, but the back of the car does give it a different look and appeal. But honestly, I think I like the rear Jake logos better with the hashes. So you tell me what your thoughts are, but you can get the Grand Sport optioned out with the traditional Grand Sport hashes on the side of the car, but they're moving to the rear of the car to match the engine placement. The next thing we want to discuss is the new C8 Grand Sport is getting the engine upgrade that has been circulating the internet for the past month or so. Yes, the LS6 motor is going inside the new C8 Grand Sport, and it will get a bump from the base Stingray 6.2 490 horsepower, 495 with performance exhaust, to 535 horsepower, putting down 520 pounds-feet of torque. Yes, that is a significant jump. Many people have been chasing that performance on the aftermarket. And how is it getting there? Well, this new upgraded motor has a bigger throttle body, larger displacement, and bigger ports. So it's actually using some of the same technology that has been thrown into the C8 ZR1 and bringing it to the Grand Sport, or should I say the Grand Sport and the base C8, because yes, the base C8 is also getting the same LS6 motor. It's getting an upgrade as well. But what we're learning about this is the Grand Sport is coming standard with a performance exhaust, which is helping it get to the 535 horsepower. So does this mean the base C8 is coming with the same standard performance exhaust system? I really can't tell you, but I do know what is optional on both cars is the actual center exhaust. The center exhaust is optional on the base Stingray. Now, you can get it with the side exhaust ports, or you can get it with the center exhaust port. And I think a lot of people will probably configure their cars with the center exhaust port to resemble the look of the C8 Z06. But there's a lot of controversial information going back and forth with this same topic when it comes to the actual C8 Grand Sport. And from what I can tell, that is also an option on the C8 Grand Sport looking at the website that General Motors provides. So you can actually get the Grand Sport with the same outer port exhaust system or with a similar center exhaust like the C8 Z06. And the base Grand Sport can get upgraded to a similar package like the C8 Z06, Z07 package to get you the same look for tracking capabilities. Now, from the information that was leaked out, or should I say that's on the website, you cannot put this package on the all-new C8 Grand Sport X. You heard me correctly, the C8 Grand Sport X, and the X is being symbolized for the electric all-wheel drive hybrid system that was formerly in the E-Ray. The Grand Sport now gets the new all-wheel drive system upgraded from the ZR1X. So X going forward means electric all-wheel drive hybrid platform, and the C8 Grand Sport X gets it. It has an extra 186 horsepower on a hybrid platform in the front wheels, similar to the ZR1, which now bumps this 535 horsepower monster to a total of 721 horsepower. Yeah, let that sink in. 721 horsepower. That's more horsepower than the actual C8 Z06, but we'll talk about that a little later. So now all this information coming out is only highlighted by the new colors added to the C8 Grand Sport when they have a new pitch metallic gray that's coming out. Yes, it's a darker gray. Well, it's expected to have silver flakes, looking something similar to the SRT platforms of the past. If you ever seen the first generation SRT Jeep Cherokees. Now, they also have a Santorini blue for the launch edition. You heard me correct. There is a 2027 exclusive launch edition, which will be a white car with Santorini blue interior and torch red seatbelts. Technically, the car is going to be red, white, and blue. Or should I say white, blue, and red, however you want to look at it. But it will be a launch edition and a special edition you can only order for the 2027 model year. Now, if that wasn't enough information for you, let's dive into the main reason why we're here. Is the Grand Sport the best bargain for your money? The way GM is marketing this, and I know a lot of people are targeting this car, is because they actually want to own a Grand Sport, or should I say what the Grand Sport heritage has actually been. A wide body version of the C8, a wide body version of the Corvette with the base model engine, but the Z06 appeal. And the Grand Sport is giving you that. Now, I'm hearing rumors that the price is starting out somewhere around $95,000 all the way up to $110,000. If you ask me, I think that's a fair pricing for this car, but is $95,000 truthfully the best bang for your buck? Now, for those people that have to have a brand new Corvette, I think starting out at $95,000 gets you a fair price for a Grand Sport. But you're getting 535 horsepower with 520 pounds-feet of torque. They haven't really revealed the 0 to 60 times, but I'm sure it's quicker than the base current Stingray. But what I start to look at and what really starts to plague in my mind is you can actually get new and used Corvette E-Rays today at a cheaper price. So for the money, I can actually get 650 horsepower in a C8 E-Ray with the similar, how can I say it, base model setup for the same, if not a little bit less money. Now, I know you could trick this Grand Sport out and actually go to a Grand Sport X, but just for the thought process of what I can own a C8 E-Ray today with a very similar interior with the 2026 interior update, I don't know if the Grand Sport is actually worth the money at the entry level cost of $95,000, let alone anything higher, because like I said, you can get E-Rays today discounted to that price range. And when you step up into a Grand Sport X, well, it has its own limitations. And I say limitations because nobody's talking about this, but let's talk about it here first. The reason I believe GM does not make the aero package of the C8 Z06, Z07 package available on the Grand Sport X, because you cannot put it on the Grand Sport X, is because the extra downforce and the extra weight of the car will actually make it perform on the track worse than a C8 Z06. Honestly, I believe right now, although the 720 horsepower is what the car can do, once you start to remove the straight line capabilities, or should I say the 0 to 60 launch times from the car, when you put them both on the track, Chevy is putting the Grand Sport and the Grand Sport X in front of the Corvette C8 Z06 on their positioning board when they showcase where this car fits in the lineup. And I believe the C8 Z06 will still outperform it on the track for most tracks around the country. And I hate to say it, at higher speeds on the actual straightaway if you're already moving. You heard me correctly, because the C8 Z06 is still lighter, and that flat plane crank 5.5 liter V8, it pulls, and it pulls hard. So all the benefits of the C8 Grand Sport X technically are the same benefits with the C8 E-Ray. is you get low-end performance, but I think the Z06 will still hold its own against the 720 horsepower Grand Sport, because the one thing that changed, which GM actually came out and said, I heard Josh, the chief engineer, say it himself, is that the Grand Sport X fixed all the complaints or the concerns that was nagging the E-Ray with the performance fall off in the quarter mile. So by stepping up to 535 horsepower and adding the all-wheel drive system, the performance in the quarter mile is there. But once you exceed it, I still believe the Z06 will actually outperform the 720 horsepower Grand Sport X in a half-mile run. And once both cars are rolling, so from a rolling start, I still believe the Grand Sport X will have a great, or should I say a better performance versus the Z06 than the actual C8 E-Ray of the past. But I don't think in long-term runs, the Grand Sport X will still fall short compared to the C8 Z06. So all the extra horsepower that they're bragging about and talking about is still for the lower performance range. Now, when it comes to the sound of this car, listen to this Grand Sport. And if you ask me, the C8 Grand Sport sounds like what we embody or expected the C8 to sound like when it first came out. And it has a lot of resemblance to me to a base C8 with a 6.2 motor with a boiler attack exhaust upgrade. But you tell me how the sounds are. Are they comparable? Are they the same? The Grand Sport is coming in at $95,000. To me, this is a money grab effort to appease or appeal the general public. Many people have complained about the title or the labeling of the Corvette E-Ray, saying GM should have made a C8 Grand Sport. And at this point in time, to make a C8 Grand Sport with just the 6.2 liter engine doesn't make sense, because many people, although they desire the car, I don't think the sales will actually be there. But because the C8 Grand Sport, or should I say the Grand Sport historically has outsold base model Corvettes once it was released, but typically because they built more Grand Sports than they actually did base model Corvettes, the Grand Sport should actually have a better selling range. And I will say this to you because I believe we're going to see the same production strategy as we've seen in the past. Once the Grand Sport actually comes out in the fall of 2026, they are going to start production shortly this summer. We will see less Corvette Stingrays built, because I feel like the pricing is going to get a little high, and more Grand Sports built. So the focal point of the next market sales for GM will be the C8 Grand Sport. And because of that, I don't expect to see discounts right away. But if you ask me, and that was the purpose of this conversation for myself, is when you look at the pricing today and what you can get your hands on for new Corvettes with discounted pricing, I just don't think the Grand Sport is actually the best bang for your buck. I don't really see it being a better option than the C8 Z06, but I know a lot of people fear the C8 Z06, or they don't like the low performance, or some people sit there and say it's really a race car for the street. They don't like the sound, so they don't really gravitate towards the C8 Z06. That's perfectly fine and dandy, but again, there are new C8 Z06s listed for sale today for $102,000 and $105,000 after discounts. So even if I had to pay $95,000 for a brand new 2027 C8 Grand Sport, would paying an extra $5,000 to $7,000 for a C8 Z06 be a stretch, or should I say, would it be a better deal? And if you ask me, I think the C8 Z06 would just be a better deal. But I understand people are going to spend their money the way they want to spend it. And when you look at the current pricing for a Corvette E-Ray, and I bring up the E-Ray, although I've always talked about how I felt about the E-Ray and the market scarcity where it sits and how it performs compared to the C8Z06. But when you're looking at a Grand Sport, it still outperforms a Grand Sport, the base Grand Sport, without the X factor. And you can buy an E-Ray brand new, cheaper than what you can actually get your hands on a Grand Sport from the pricing that we're being told is possibly an option. So I have to ask, is the E-Ray name that big of a difference or that much of a hindrance, or are Corvette potential buyers that uneducated that they don't understand the E-Ray isn't fully electric, that it's a hybrid platform car, and to buy a Grand Sport or a Grand Sport X that is pretty much an identical version of the E-Ray, just using a little bit more stronger engine and a slightly more electrical output motor hybrid system? I don't think the Grand Sport X sales will be there like people actually expect. I feel like many of the E-Ray drivers or E-Ray owners may consider upgrading to a C8 Grand Sport X, but I don't feel like many of them will actually take that jump just for the pricing and what they already have their hands on in the car. Not to mention that many E-Ray owners are actually buried in their car because of how bad they lost value and they depreciated. So the Grand Sport X will be a nice car option, but even listen to many of the people talk about it today, whether it's YouTubers and it's people on the street. It's nice to talk about and discuss, but many people aren't really that interested. So we'll see how the sales number actually do for that car. But if you ask me, the best bang for your buck, if you're looking to get the most performance out of a car, would be the C8 E-Ray. So go out and get yourself a brand new E-Ray today. Now, in the long run, I think the Grand Sport will probably hold a little bit better value. But if we're talking about dollar for dollar today of what you're willing to spend, I truly believe the E-Ray is the best bang for your buck, followed by a new Z06. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you really impressed with the C8 Grand Sport? Is the C8 Grand Sport a car you're willing to target now? Let me know in the comments below. ICNV Driver Edition. Go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, join the ICNV Driver Edition community. We are an interactive community, which means if you hit me up on any one of my social media platforms or in the comments below, I'll do my best to respond. And if the topic you bring up, just like this one, is interesting enough, I may even make a quick video on it. But don't forget, we were all made in his image and given dominion over the world, which means we weren't just meant to be. So chase your dreams, build your visions, never ever give up, and embrace your own identity. It is okay to be unique. We were all given unique gifts to become the best version of us that we can possibly be. So step into your calling and become the blessing to the world that you were meant to be. Just remember to stay humble, stay focused, and stay blessed. And I'll see you in these streets. Peace.